So I did have the chance to as well on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I had asked for people to ask some questions for me. I was going to do my best to answer them here. So we're going to do a little bit of Q&A here on today's show. I do got some questions here from some people online. Like I said, I want to go ahead and answer their questions for them. Adam Bowers, who's one of my good friends, he had asked me between the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch, which one is better and why? Well, Adam, it's plain and simple. There's not really a great answer for that. There's not a real answer for that. Many people will argue and say that they believe that the PS4 version is better, or the PS4 is better graphically. It just depends on where your friends are at. What kind of games you like, what kind of exclusives you're looking at. For me, I have Xbox One, I had PS4 as well, the Wii U, of course, I got the Switch. For me, all my friends are on the Xbox One. So for me, it's always been about where my friends are at, what they're playing. I love Halo. I love Sunset Overdrive. A lot of the games that were made for the Xbox One, I really enjoyed, of course. Killer Instinct was a big one for me too. I love fighting games, so Killer Instinct was definitely another reason why I went with Xbox One the most. But PS4 has great games like God of War. You have lots of like Street Fighter 5 on there as well too, fighting game style. The most recently Horizon Zero Dawn, another great game. So either way you go, either way you look at it, depends on where your friends are at and what they're doing, of course, and what kind of exclusive you like. With the Switch, the reason why I love Nintendo, the Wii U, the Wii, anything Nintendo is, you're always going to have those classic games like Mario, Donkey Kong, and everything, Zelda, and everything else. So, for that console itself, it's great to have for just those exclusives that you're not going to find on any other console. So again, to answer your question, it just depends on what your choice is, man. It's personal preference. Bryce Chapman, who was here last week with me, had asked me what was my favorite GameCube game, what's the most underrated game, and the most overrated game. Well, to break that down for you, in my personal opinion, two of my favorite games on the GameCube were Super Mario Sunshine and The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I had lots of games for the GameCube. I love the GameCube. It's definitely one of my favorite consoles of all time. Next to the Sega Saturn, you have games, all the wrestling games like Day of Reckoning. You have so many great games. Metroid Prime, the series. You have lots of great games on there as well too. So, but for sure, Super Mario Sunshine and Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess are definitely two of my favorite games on there, as well as like Luigi's Mansion and so forth. As far as underrated games go, I'd have to say for me, one that's not looked at enough, not talked about enough, that kind of created the whole genre of like the gory games like Grand Theft Auto, of course, and whatnot, is Manhunt 2. I started playing that, me and my friend David and Kevin, we actually started playing that game back in the day, man. At that time, it was so graphic. You go up behind people, you can suffocate them with a bag, you can slit their throats and everything else, but it reminded me a lot of a game like Grand Theft Auto. Of course, Rockstar made it. But for me, Manhunt on the PS2 was one of my underrated games of all time. They did make Manhunt 2. I believe it was on, I want to say it was a PS3 maybe, or I can't remember what exactly console it was on, but it definitely wasn't quite as good as the original Manhunt on the PS2. For me, I can't really say there's much overrated games. There's a lot of hype for games that don't always, give everything that they should, that produce. For me, if I would have had to say one, and I like this game, don't get me wrong, but Destiny. I think the original Destiny game had lots of hype behind it. It was overrated at the time. It's still a great game. Like I said, don't get me wrong, I do have it. I have the Taken King and everything else bundled. So, don't get me wrong about that. I do like it. I do see Destiny 2 is coming out September 8th of this year. It does look interesting, but for me, I just think that Destiny was kind of one of those games that was, kind of almost overhyped too much, and was never really thought through all the way. And not everything is. It didn't get pushed to its potential, in my opinion. Jimmy Boyd had asked me the first game I remember playing, and what game made me realize that I was going to be a gamer for life. Well, it's really easy. Of course, the Nintendo, original Nintendo. I had played WWF WrestleMania, as well as Super Mario Brothers. Those are the two games that I first remember playing on the old TV back in the day when I lived at my grandma's house. WrestleMania was always a classic game in my opinion. I play that game now and it's just like, wow, I spent hours and hours and hours playing this game with a punch, a kick, and like 1 or 2 grapple moves, and that's about it, besides pinning. But it's a great game. It was always a lot of fun. They played their theme musics during the game itself, so it was always fun to be able to hear those in the 8-bit mode. Super Mario Brothers, of course, it's a classic, whether it's Mario 1, Mario 2, my favorite, Mario 3. But my very first one I remember playing, of course, is the original Mario Brothers. As far as what game made me realize that I was going to be a gamer for life, it had to be Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. That game, as well as Super Mario Brothers, or Super Mario World on Super Nintendo, and I had written down Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. I was fortunate enough to have a Sega and a Super Nintendo in my home, as well as a Nintendo. So for me, Sega Genesis brought back a lot of classic memories for me as well too, with Sonic, ToeJam and Earl, and everything else, Streets of Rage that you can play. But for me, Sonic the Hedgehog was definitely a part of my childhood that made me love gaming so much. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, 3, even the Sonic Pinball, Sonic and Knuckles, all those games. But definitely Legend of Zelda as well too. I'm a big Zelda fan, and Link to the Past is definitely one of my favorite games for the Super Nintendo. Jimmy Rogers, he had asked me what game defined my childhood, kind of close to the same question as last time, and the game that I like to see rebooted. Again, Mario Brothers, I feel defined my childhood along with Nintendo itself. Again, it's no secret I'm a big Nintendo fan, but for me, Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, obviously Legend of Zelda, and Nintendo itself definitely made me a gamer. I love Nintendo products. There's just something about Nintendo that I always like. A lot of people don't like them, put them down and so forth. For me though, Nintendo always has a place in my heart. I'm always been a Nintendo fan. The Nintendo community is awesome on Twitter, online, on YouTube. It's great. So for me, Nintendo and Mario Brothers is kind of what defined my childhood as a gamer anyways. For games that I like to see rebooted, I definitely like to see Road Rash and Streets of Rage rebooted as well too. Metroid, that's another game that I'm waiting for. I have a feeling that the Switch will bring a Metroid game out eventually. But for sure, for me, Road Rash and Streets of Rage are 2 games I'd love to see rebooted on the PS4, on the Xbox One. Heck, even if they bring Streets of Rage series to the Switch, that'd be awesome. I have them already, but it's still one of those things that I could definitely never get enough of that game. Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3, a great fighting beat-em-up game. One of my favorite of all time. Kevin Kruger, he had asked me online, he's one of my good friends as well too, he actually recently purchased a Deadpool game for the PS3. He wanted to know what I thought of that game, if it was any good or not. Kevin, it's one of those games that's it's a fun game. There's lots of curse words and whatnot in there. A lot of gore as well too, just like you would expect from the Deadpool movie. It's a fun little game. It's definitely something that I spent a little bit of time playing when we rented it for the Xbox 360 back when it first came out. But it's a lot of fun. I'd recommend it. Hope you have a good time playing it. It's a lot of fun. BWE Talks on Instagram had asked me who inspired me to do YouTube gaming and who is my favorite YouTube channel. That's kind of a hard question for me. A lot of people online, kind of inspired me to start doing YouTube gaming and gaming shows. CND, I started watching him more recently when he was kind of doing the Switch, waiting in line for the Switch and everything. I had started watching him. I definitely watch a lot of Happy Console Gamer. He's a great guy. He's got a great channel. He's very knowledgeable about all gaming. I don't really watch a whole lot like Markiplier or PewDiePie or nothing like that. I do watch them once in a while, so I can't say those guys are a big influence, but anybody who does YouTube gaming, anybody who takes their time to craft their art on YouTube, on social media, they're an inspiration to me because it is hard. It's not easy to get views, it's not easy to get likes, it's not easy to get fans and a following, but we gotta do our best. You gotta keep trying. If you like the content that you're putting out, keep doing it. Nintendo Cade, I actually met him recently online on Twitter. I've seen some of his stuff before CND and after CND, and I really enjoy his stuff as well too. He's a great guy. He's contacted me a couple times on Twitter about some advice for me, so I definitely appreciate everything that the Nintendo community gives me. Adala Smash 026, he's another one that I've been following for quite some time now. He's great. He's a big Nintendo ambassador, as well as Nintendo Cade and CND. Those guys are great to watch. Again, it's just that Nintendo community seems to be the community that keeps me going. As far as who's my favorite YouTube channel, it's gonna be a toss-up between Nintendocade and probably a Dallas Smash 026. I do like Happy Console Gamer as well too, like I mentioned, but there's so many different channels that I watch. IGN, I love watching their Nintendo voice chat. They have a great little show going on there. Every week they talk about Nintendo for like a good hour. It's always fun to listen to those guys on a podcast, throw some headphones in. But for sure, I'd say Abdallah Smash 026, as well as CMD and Nintendocade. Like I said, it's hard for me to narrow it down to one particular one, but if I had to, I'd probably say Abdallah Smash 026 is my favorite YouTuber. As far as that goes, though, this is a great list of questions. I love doing this kind of stuff to be able to, answer questions for you guys out there. So if you have any questions for me or for any of us on Beyond Gaming, you can hit us up on Facebook /BeyondGaming03. We have Twitter @BeyondGaming03. Of course, you can always shoot us an email at BeyondGaming03@gmail.com.